Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. Yes, had a few difficulties, but I'm on now. So, gosh, duh moment for me. Oh my God, I'm not even going to tell you. Not even going to tell you. It's crazy. So today we're going to be doing this cute little bird, and it's from The Country's Edge. And I have the permissions for using these, so you can download it and print it if you want to paint along with me. And I'll be using craft paint today, so I'm going to stick to the colors of the leaves and the bird that she's done here. So we have kind of orangey burnt colors, a little bit of red, a little bit of purple, gray, dark brown. So just see what you can find in it. Let's see. Hey Joan, Jilly, everybody. Sorry. I had a senior moment. God. I don't know. So I'm going to be using those colors. So just find some oranges, reds, burgundy, that kind of color. Maybe a little bit of a buff color would be good too. Hey Devin. So this one here is straw, so I'll use a little bit. I've got this palette here beside me. So I'm just going to put a few of these colors up here. Cadmium orange. It's a good thing actually that it was late, because I had a problem with my tracing paper. It wouldn't go on the acrylic, which is very strange. I don't know why. So I don't know, does carbon paper go old and it won't? Wrong time zone? No, just I forgot to press go live. Duh. Oh my God. How many years have I been doing this? Jeez. This is Napa Red. Oh my God, no. Yeah. And some white. It's crazy, crazy. Just never know. Let's see what other colors. A little bit of this wisteria color, or if you got a soft mauve color, would do. Don't need a whole lot of that. And some brown. I have Van Dyke brown here. Oh, it doesn't sound very good though. Let's see. Asphaltum. It's kind of a brown color. Yeah, Lori. There's no worry on that one. I think there's probably a lot of us that do that, to tell you the truth. So I'm not feeling bad, I'm just feeling dumb. Alright, so I decided to put it on an existing jelly print that I had. Everybody's got tons of these, I know you do. And then I just tore around the edge so I didn't have a white edge, and put it on top of some scrapbook paper that I have sitting around too. Hi Jonica. And it just gives it a little bit of a frame, I guess you could say, instead of having just the plain manila colored file folder on the back. It just adds a little bit to it. So I had to hand trace, or not hand trace, hand draw this onto my jelly print because it wouldn't transfer for some reason. Not sure why. I'm going to see if the saran transfer paper works better. I just don't know where I put that at the moment. But for some reason the other stuff wouldn't transfer, which is odd. So I'm going to do this kind of, it's not going to be a really fine detailed leaf painting. I want it more painterly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my angled brush here, and most of this is going to be kind of a lighter orangey color. So I'm going to add some straw to that orange that I have, and I'm going to base coat pretty well all of my leaves this color. And if it's streaky, that's fine. I'm going to leave it. I just want a base coat of the color. Now, being that it's orange, sometimes orange, yellow, red, they're a little bit on the translucent side. So sometimes you might have to put another layer on. We'll see what it looks like, but I'm not going to get too fussy with it. You could actually just add a little bit of white paint or gesso to your color too, and that'll cover it up. But you never know, sometimes having a little bit of that green shining through kind of adds to it. Lori, I'm glad you said what you said in chat, because when I looked at it, I thought, I was actually talking to you. Yeah, dear, and I thought, oh, she's not answering. Duh. Oh well. We all have those moments. I don't know. It's weird. And we can always put a glaze, more of a glaze over top, because we're going to be putting more layers, so don't worry too much about if things are showing through this first layer, because we're going to add a lot more paint to it. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. You just gotta laugh, people. Don't get so serious. Just, you gotta laugh. Yeah. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of a space so I know where these leaves are ending and overlapping. Or you can leave the line that you drew also. Just helps you so you don't have to go back and trace over it again. Although I can't trace over it because it didn't work. Gotta find out why. That was strange. So I was when I was talking to myself, I was saying I'm gonna make these just a little bit different this time because we have snow here and all the leaves are covered with snow. And we got a bunch of tree limbs down, and it's just way too heavy for the leaves and snow for the trees to hold that. So yeah, crazy weather. So I'm going to put snow on mine. You don't have to, but I'm going to. So has anyone else got snow? Or is it just us that are so blessed here in Canada? The weather network's saying that we're going to have a pile of snow this month because the Great Lakes are very warm this year, more than what they should be, which is going to cause a lot of snow effect, lake effect snow. You have snow before us. Yeah, eh, Devin? Sheesh. One more here. I can still see my drawing underneath here, which is kind of good for some of these. Okay, so we'll let some of these dry up. Give this a little blast with the heat gun. No snow in New Jersey and no snow in your area. Yeah, crazy. Alright, so let's just put a little bit more on some of this. Go back over now. It'll be a little more colorful, the second coat. And I'm not going to worry about streaking either. I like the streaking, especially when it comes to leaves. With the second coat, though, it'd be good to go in the direction that the veins are going in. That way you have the streaking going the right way. Hey, Kimberly. Well, at least you guys didn't have to watch me trace this and find out that it didn't come up. And then watch me have to draw the darn thing. Yeah, that's right. I lost brain power. Uh, so just going with the lines of the leaf. This one here is kind of, you see the bottom part of it a little bit, so it's a little bit lighter on the bottom. So I'm just putting that in first. And then the other part is a little darker, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that Napa red, because it's a little bit darker on the front side of the leaf. You can mix it up with a little orange. It's good to actually mix this wet into wet too, because it gives you some really cool streaking. But you guys want me to come in a little more so you can see a little better. Alright, so I'm going to take that Napa red, mix it with that cadmium orange, and now from the center where the vein would be, I'm just going to throw in some of this. So just keep your streaks going in the direction of the veins. And you can mix it up. Some parts might be a little bit darker, some parts might be a little lighter. Just keep adding to it till you like it. I'm going to make the edges a little bit lighter. So I'm just adding a little more of that straw color. And the paint's still wet, so it's blending while I'm painting. Okay. I'm not even washing my brush, because this way you get different colors. So, and the leaves, you can't go wrong in doing these, really, because they're all different, especially with fall. There'll be all kinds of colors in them. Red. Then I'm going to put a little bit of snow on once these are done. Just a bit. Not a lot, but just a bit. A little red. And we'll put veining in too. Maybe some are a little darker than others, you know, change them up a little bit, but stick with the same color palette. You don't want too much of a different color. Now around this one that's overlapped, I'm going to add a little bit more of a darker shade of that Napa red with a little bit of the orange so that it shows up as a different leaf, and it gives it a little bit of shadow effect in there. Hey Lisa! And that one. More red or orange, the cadmium orange. Put a little bit of Napa with it. And then switch to the straw for the ends. And this one here, it's got a little bit of overlap, so I'm going to use some of that Napa red again, just to show that. And a little orange. Some straw. Doesn't take a lot of paint to do these. And they're fun to do. You just keep doing them until you like them. You just wipe off your brush if you get too much muddiness from all the paints, and then you can add more. Go back. You got any questions? Just let me know. Put it in caps. This time I will see it because I'm actually on. Oh gosh. Kathy, look like koi fish in the jelly. Yes, they are. It's from that roller that I have, that koi fish roller for paint. It's a cool roller. I think I'll probably do some more jelly printing. I think I'm going to see what leaves I can muster up and make some more prints. So I'm wanting to make a book, but I need I want a specific colors, so I have to make some more up. Put a little bit more Naphthol red in here to darken that up. And a little bit more of this. Blend it together a little bit. Soften it. I could use a little bit more. contrast is the biggest way of a successful painting. You gotta have contrast in your shades of paint. So soft colors, bold colors. No, that's my son. Going out to the garage. All right, so let's put this stem in. So I'm going to use that asphaltum color. You can use burnt umber, raw umber, whatever color you've got. Let's see. It's not the most opaque paint, but we'll use it. Let's see what we can get. Put some highlights, some there's a little foot in there. And we have some really thin lines, so I'm going to get a script liner. And I'm just going to do some of these stems. And we'll highlight with maybe markers. I think this was a branch too, and I forgot to put in. That one. I think that's it. You're still spooked. Well, you just never know what's out there. Just saying. Okay, so I'm going to take that Naphthol red that we used for the more or less the center parts of those leaves, and I'm going to add some of that brown to it just to darken it up a little bit. And then I'm going to use that to come down on my stems for the vein. A little more red, or just have to have it a little bit darker than the red that's in the leaf. Okay, I think I got it all now. And then a few of the side shoots. You don't have to put them all in, just a few. They can be a little bit fatter because we're going to actually highlight them. So if they're too skinny, it'll be hard to highlight them. Okay, one more and that's it. Okay. Well, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, they're doing really well. I just grow them on a windowsill. I don't have a greenhouse or anything. You're home alone. Just darkening some of these. Just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my brushes here. I'm going to take as much of the water out of it, and I'm going to use more or less a dry brush effect. So just a little bit of this mauve color, and I'm just going to swipe some areas, kind of like it's highlight versus kind of mossy, moldy, I guess. And just put them on. Not all the whole thing, but just here and there on the leaves. more dry brush than anything else. One more. Alright, now we're going to take some of that bright orange and a little bit of that Napa, and we're just going to dab in on some of the branch areas. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, but just maybe a little bit of this. Make sure it's bright enough though that you see. Just here and there. Doesn't have to be, it's kind of like moss. I don't know if you've seen this it's kind of a reddish color here and there. So just a few dabs. Alright, and then I'm going to take a little bit of that reddish color that we used, and just this fold over leaf, I'm just going to make a few marks. On there, like just like that. And just dry brush again some of this darker color here and there. Use some brown. Kind of dirty them up a little bit. Because it's fall, so you're going to have kind of marks in them, and some of them are starting to die, so maybe some of the tips might have a little bit. You don't have to put this in. I just like doing this. You could have it looking all nice without any blemishes on it if you want. I just like putting the specks and whatnot on them. Just what I like to do. Little holes sometimes you'd see. Okay, so we'll let that dry, and now I'm going to put a coat of kind of a I'm going to need a little bit of blue. Or should I just, yeah, a little bit of blue. Actually, no, I'm going to use this mauve color. Wisteria, I think it's called. And we're going to add some white to it. Lighten it up even more. And I'm going to add a little bit of that brown to it to dirty it up. And I'm going to base coat my bird in this color. And I'm going to leave some of the areas between, like the feathers and the tail, or what, or you can just go by your reference to. It's up to you what you want to do. Just so I see where everything is. I'm going to paint around. Full head. So this is how I like to paint. Everybody does it differently, but I always like to use base coats in a lot of my stuff. Some people don't. It's up to you. I'm going to make the top part here a little bit darker. Maybe a little bit of red to that. It's actually more brown. I'm looking at the undercoat of the feather. I probably should let it dry a bit. Yep, I'll let it dry. Use my heat gun. Okay, that's good and dry. Yeah, I need a little bit darker, so I think I'm going to add some blue to my mix. So I have some navy blue here. Just going to put it up here. Don't need a whole lot. And I'm just going to take this navy blue and add it to that mauve to darken it. I want it kind of on the bluey side. And we'll put that in the bottom part here, under his tail. And just right in here. Up his body a little bit. just a little bit darker. And along here, top part of his wing area. And in his head, I think I'll add even more. Let's see. It's fairly, he's got some, you know, I'm going to take some of that asphaltum color, mix it. I want kind of a dirty gray color as my undercoat. And under here, just going down into here, and then I'll switch and lighten it a little bit just by adding a little bit of that other color as we go down. Okay. Thanks, Joan. All right, so let's, what else can we do while that dries? We can add the eye. So the eye, I'm going to get some black. Just a dab. And a nice sharp point. His little legs, put those in. His feet. You can do this with Posca if you want. And we'll put his other leg right here. Oop, too much water. Right, and her beak is a yellowy color, so I'm going to use the straw color. May as well put that in while we're doing it. And can dirty it up a little bit with some brown. Around it. That. All right, so let's give that a blast of heat. All right, so now we're going to do a little bit of the color of the, let's do that black first that's around his head and beak. There's a little bit of black, and I've got the rake brush. And he's got a little area right here under his beak. A little circular area, kind of like a half moon shape, and goes around to here. That's another little funny shape. This is bigger. And I'm going to have to take a smaller brush to do around the top part of his beak. Specific shape. Like that. And this. And that goes like that. That's more round, like that. I'm probably going to have to give him more fur. Not fur. Okay. So now I'll take my rake brush again and do a little bit on the belly or below of that Naphthol red. So he has a little bit on his cheek here. And then around the crest of his neck, which goes like this. Comes down a little bit too. Like that. And down here, just a bit. You have to pay attention to the direction of his feathers too when you're doing this. All right. Now, the white. So we just get some white on our brush. And this is when it gets fun. So we just do little in the top part of his head here. Oh, I guess I should put the red in first. There's a red crown on his head. And it goes like this, right up here. I have to put a little bit more of a head on him. I'll let that dry. We'll do the white. So I'm just following the way the feathers are lying. And you just do little sweeps. And just very lightly. She doesn't take much. You can always go back over it with the red or the other colors. And the feathers are shorter. On here. Top part of his eye, there's a little more concentration. And a few under there, his eye. Just a few specks in the black part. That's all you pretty well need. And then just a few small specks. Oop, too big. Too much water in my brush. Right in here. And you just follow the way of the body. And this is the wing part here, so there's going to be like almost stripes. And then that gets brought into the part of the red. Just overlap it slightly. And then this part's a little more white. Just add a little bit more. Don't cover it completely up though. you want a little bit of that, what is it, mauve color. You can always fix up your branches, so if you have to go over your branches, that's fine. And then under here a little bit, but not as much. And then we have a little under feathers here, like that. And then this, a little bit of white. This actually needs to be a lot darker, so I'm going to take some asphaltum and put it under here. These need to be quite a bit darker. So just put a little bit in. A little black to that, I think. And a little bit there. Right in here. Thanks, everybody. He's cute. So I'm going to take my script liner again and just do a little bit of finer detail underneath his tail here. Just a little bit of highlight in here. This little that. I'm going to take some of this brown again, and in between these white areas I want it to be a little more on the brown side. So this is his wing area. And then I'll have a little bit in here, just a smidge. And a little bit on his chest too. This is more or less dry brushing. And some dots on his nose. And underneath the beak, bottom part of the beak would be darker. And then we'll put some highlights, so a little bit of that white, and there'd be just a little bit of highlight right around there. And then his little eye. There's a little more shadows and highlights around his eye. Let's see, there's a little bit of a highlight right there. And a smidgen of this darker color in here. Just gives it more definition. A little bit of black right in here. Let's see. And a few little lines in here. Actually, I'll get my other brush. Little black lines. Not much, but there are a few in the top part of his head. I don't know if I can get them in right or not. We'll see. Try it. And under his eye, I haven't got enough black. Some more. I like detail. You don't have to put all this detail in if you don't want to. Something I don't know, I like detail. I remember having to do the bird studies not paintings, but well, I did a painting before, and then I did the stained glass windows, but you had to have exactly the right markings. They would tell you. It would come back saying it's not right. Okay, so he has kind of a line going around there, two of them actually, like that, and then more white on the in between. So some little dots under his eye, and then in between this little mark here. in the top part. Now I can put his highlight in, I think. It's right there. I have to put a little bit of his beak in, very small. That and like that, and some highlights on his head there. Darker and lighter ones. It goes down to the some highlighted areas. Oh, too light. Some dark ones. Just under here, under his feathers. And a few in here. And I'm just going to put a few more white streaks. Just a few. It's kind of an back and forth type of thing. There should be some here. And here. And a little bit brighter in here, just along the cheek area. That's a little more concentrated of white. Right here. Jilly, thanks for coming. Thanks, Joan. Okay, so let's fix his little leg there. Covered over it a bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit of black there. Same with this one. And then there's a little bit of highlight, which is kind of the grayish color. And just little rings, stripes on his legs and toes. Don't have to give it a lot, but it helps define them. Actually, the toes are more they're not striped, they're just colored. And a little bit of black shadowing underneath the limb. And oh yeah, I got to do the highlights on the leaves, the stems. So you can just put a little bit of highlight on them down the center. They don't have to be all the same. You can, but you want them a little bit lighter so they show up. And if you have Poscas, you can use Posca. Just a few more. think I'm going to put a little bit more on his tops of his nose here. Maybe just a smidge. I don't see those toes very well. All right. What else? Now see how the bird kind of blends into this area here. Now what we can do with that is we can put a bit of a glaze on. So we want fairly dark colors, so I'm going to use the navy blue, I think. And I want a little bit bigger brush. Let's see. We'll use this one. And I'm just going to dip my one edge in the blue. You want a fair amount of water on your brush. And then you can just go around that bird a little bit, just to bring them out. And just use the one side closest to the one side of your paintbrush that has the paint on it to where the bird is, and it makes a really nice shaded kind of an aura around the bird. And just helps bring out that bird a little bit because he kind of faded into the background. And you can use some of this, you know, do some of the leaves, the white areas in the leaves maybe, just to make it more cohesive. So it's more or less just a bit of glazing that you're doing. So I like to bring that color into another area so your eye more or less follows it. So we got that there. Bring it up here a little bit. Darken that a little more. Maybe up here. There. And then we're going to put that, well, November. I'm going to paint November over here. So there's the little bird. I think he's done now. Yeah, he looks pretty well. Maybe a little bit of that dark blue just under here. Just a little darker, I think. Needs to be. This is the shadowed area. There. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is probably look on my Cricut machine and find a what do you call it? Cutout or printable of November. I think I have a bunch of lettering and stuff that I could do, and then I'll just put it over on top. So use up your papers and play with it. This is the only way you'll learn, is if you're doing it. So I will post this on Instagram and Facebook if you're wanting to see what it looks like when it's done, like completely done with the lettering. I'll put that up there. And make sure you put yours up too. I'd love to see them. I want to see what you did, what colors you used. You don't have to use the same colors as what I did. And if you're wanting to do, this is a House Finch, you can also look it up on the internet to make sure you see where the colors are, and play with it. Make sure you download the printable. It's free. Oh, oh well. That'll work. So, and use Paint with Kathy Arbor. Yes, thank you, Devin. Hashtag Paint with Kathy Arbor. And that way I will see it. Alright, and if you have any suggestions for future paint-alongs, just put it in the comments below. I'd love to see them. I've gotten a few from last Tuesday. More fairies. They want to see. Somebody was mentioning they wanted me to incorporate the watercolor with textiles and stuff. So that'd be interesting too. So I'll let you guys go, and we'll talk to you and see you on Tuesday. Unless I come in for impromptu with jelly printing. You never know. We'll see what the weekend brings. So have a fantastic day, everyone, and get your sketchbooks out and do some sketching. Bye for now.